Very good morning and Jai Bhim everyone. This is Vandana here from Titlagarh Balangi district, and recently I have completed my master's degree from Ravenshaw University of Cuttack. First of all, let me wish you all a very happy Independence Day. So, today I'm here to speak about a quintessential figure of India's freedom struggle, Shaheed Sardar Uddham Singh. His story reminds us that while some lives are remembered for their extraordinary journey, others for their history they change, and a rare few become immortal because they never bow before injustice. Uddham Singh's life undoubtedly belongs to that rare and unforgettable category. When we speak of Uddham Singh as a youth icon of India's freedom movement, we are not simply remembering a revolutionary, but a young Indian who embodied resistance, justice, national unity, and fearless courage. Born as Sher Singh on 26 December 1899 at Sunam in Punjab, Uddham Singh lost his parents at a very young age, and he was raised at the Central Khalsa Orphanage in Amritsar. Yet the deepest wound of his life was not personal but historical. On 13th April 1919, the day of Baishakhi, thousands gathered at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. What began as a peaceful gathering ended in one of the darkest episodes of British colonial rule. Without warning, General Dyer ordered his troops to fire upon the unarmed crowd, but trapped by the narrow exit, hundreds were killed and many more were wounded. That day changed India, and it changed Uddham Singh. Jallianwala Bagh was not merely an event he witnessed, it became a memory he carried. Years passed, but the wound never faded. He traveled abroad, joined revolutionary networks, and remained devoted to India's freedom. Then he eventually adopted the remarkable name Ram Muhammad Singh Azad. What a name! Where Ram stands for Hindus, Muhammad for Muslims, Singh for Sikhs, and finally Azad for freedom. See, his very name became a declaration that India's freedom could never belong to one community alone, but the shared dream of every Indian. Then, after 21 years, on 13th March 1940 at Caxton Hall, London, Uddham Singh shot Michael Dyer, the former Lieutenant Governor of Punjab who had supported the repressive colonial response in 1919. For that he was arrested, tried at the Old Bailey, and sentenced to death. Then finally on 31st July 1940, he was executed at Pentonville Prison of London. But history did not end at the gallows. His body could be executed, his voice could be silenced, but his message could never be buried. The youth of India's freedom movement were not mere spectators, but the authors, thinkers, agitators, and revolutionaries of history. From Bhagat Singh's Inqilab Zindabad to Chandrasekhar Azad's fearless resistance, they challenged the belief that colonial rule was permanent, and Uddham Singh belonged to that generation. Yet being inspired by Uddham Singh doesn't mean imitating the violence of his time, because we live in a democratic India where our method must be different, but our courage must not be smaller. If he confronted colonial injustice, we must confront injustice in our society. If he refused to forget oppression, we must refuse to become indifferent to it. And if his name symbolized unity, we must uphold India's unity in diversity. And while his generation fought for political freedom, our generation must make that freedom meaningful through equality, dignity, education, and social justice. Thus, Uddham Singh becomes more than a historical figure because his life compels us to ask that what is freedom worth if we remain silent before injustice? What's nationalism worth if it cannot embrace diversity? And what does it mean to be young if despite having education, energy and opportunity, we lack the courage to stand for what is right? And one thing is that, we often say that the youth are the future of the nation. But Uddham Singh teaches us that they are not merely the future of the force of the future, but the force that shapes the present. Because his generation did not wait for a perfect tomorrow, but they acted despite the challenges of their time. Today, colonial rule has disappeared, But inequality, discrimination, social exclusion, injustice still challenge our freedom. Therefore, our revolution must be a revolution of thought. Our weapons must be education, our strength must be reason, and our language must be constitutional democracy, along with our goal must be justice with dignity for every citizen. Because independence is not the final destination of history, but a responsibility handed from one generation to the next. So when we remember Uddham Singh, let's not remember only the gun, the courtroom, or the gallows. Let's remember the courage behind the man, the unity behind the name, the memory behind his mission, and the freedom behind his sacrifice. Let's remember that a young man from Punjab crossed continent, confronted an empire, and chosen death over surrender. And perhaps the most powerful tribute we can offer him is not to ask how can we become another Uddham Singh. Instead, let's ask how can we become worthy of the freedom for which Uddham Singhs and countless others sacrificed everything. That question is our responsibility. That responsibility is our tribute, and that tribute must begin not tomorrow but today. So it was from my side. Thank you. That's all.